need to guess. It is no longer a mystery. It is now out in the open. Just today, just a few hours ago, Pastor Mark Finley, one of the most well-known top leaders of the worldwide Adventist Church, came out in a video right here and clearly and repeatedly and unmistakably defended the killing of innocent children by abortion. There is no speculation, no need for rumors or interpretation, no need for guessing. This is now out in the open on video. You can hear him say it out of his own mouth. Not only did he defend killing children, he also made three very important admissions. Number one, the 1992 guidelines on abortion right here, that these were not biblical. Leaders in the church repeated for years, over and over for years, that these were very balanced and biblical. And look, all of a sudden, in just a few weeks this month, we have seen several top church leaders, including Ted Wilson and now Mark Finley, openly admitting that, oh, these were not biblical, and you can hear them say it out of their own mouth. Number two, Finley, just like Dr. Landless, has now come out and openly admits on video that yes, Adventist hospitals have in fact murdered tens of thousands of little boys and girls by abortion.
That there were years that we did not, as Dr. Landless said, have a good history in the area of abortion. Were there abortions that took place in the Adventist Church during those years that really could have been avoided? There were.
For years, for decades, people in our church have been raising very serious concerns and questions. And for years, top church leaders have consistently, over and over and over again, they outright denied it. And look, all of a sudden, in just 1 month, October 2019, they are all coming out saying that yes, it is in fact true. However, Finley wants us to just ignore this and move on.
And the church has to acknowledge that openly and simply say, what can we do today?
When Africans in Rwanda kill 3,000 innocent people in the Adventist Mugonero Hospital in 1994. We are reminded of this over and over and over again. We are told never to forget this terrible horror. But when the American Adventists kill tens of thousands of children in our own hospitals with the Adventist name, in the name of Jesus Healing Ministry, Finley and other church leaders just want us to just forget that and move on. And number three, Finley, like others, openly admitted that the church will now work on a new set of guidelines, or wait, they don't like the word guidelines. They're going to call it a protocol for abortion in our hospitals. So this statement that they just published is not the end of it. It's not the end. They're going to have a protocol. The church will come out with another protocol, which many suspect, I suspect, will be worse. But Finley, like others, are trying to hype and praise this document and downplay the protocol. However, in this video, let's just focus on the key moment when Finley abandons the Bible and makes the case for abortion. Section 6 contains the exceptions to kill children, so listen carefully to Finley when he addressed this question.
You know, somebody challenged me recently. They said, do you believe that a conscience should guide us whether a woman has an abortion or not? And you know what my comment to that was? A biblically informed conscience. A biblically informed conscience.
However, in this video, let's just focus on the key moment when Finley abandons the Bible and makes the case for abortion. Section 6 contains the exceptions to kill children, so listen carefully to Finley when he addressed this question.
You know, somebody challenged me recently. They said, do you believe that a conscience should guide us whether a woman has an abortion or not? And you know what my comment to that was? A biblically informed conscience. a biblically informed conscience.
I want to admit to you, my viewers, that I have been for many years very trusting of church leaders. So when, like as you see in this video, I ask them if they agree Jesus does not want his church to support the killing of children, and they say yes, they agree. When they agree that religious leaders have an obligation to ensure that God's people are not responsible for the blood of even one innocent person, I have been very trusting, or I guess you could say naive, and I just assumed that they would, of course, be honest people and not support abortion. How wrong I was, let's listen right here.
This statement does not open the door for abortion at whim or choice.
My friends, take a moment to stop and think. Just think about what he is saying. He just admitted that yes, church leaders have abused the language and used vague, ambiguous phrases like mother's health loopholes to justify abortion on demand. He just admitted a few minutes ago that church leaders have done this for not just a few weeks or months or years, they did this for decades. And then he admitted that the church will later have a protocol. However, the problem is that the protocol is not even published yet. He doesn't even know what the protocol will say, but he's already assuring us that this vague language does not open a loophole. He wants us to just sit down and blindly believe and accept that church leaders, after decades of deception, after decades and decades of deception, he wants us to just sit down and blindly believe and accept that all of a sudden church leaders and hospital administrators will be good Boy Scouts and they will not deceive us. Oh no, after 49 years, they're not going to deceive us after he just admitted that they have deceived us for half a century.
This statement does not open the door for abortion at whim or choice.
This is absolutely not true because literally
This statement does not open the door for abortion at whim or choice. This statement does not open the door for abortion at whim or choice.
This is absolutely not true because literally just a few seconds later he says this.
Neither does it take that choice away from a woman in that
Wow, he reassures us, he just reassured us that vague language will never be used as a loophole ever again for abortion by choice, but then in the very same breath says that women need to have the final choice and decision for fatal prospects or, quote, life-threatening medical conditions or birth anomalies.
This statement does not open the door for abortion at whim or choice, but it points out compassion, that there are times when a woman's life is threatened. There are times when a baby is in a fatal condition.
Again, he literally says one thing and then contradicts himself. This does not open the door for choice, but then in the name of compassion, we need to give a woman the choice to kill her child if, quote, the baby is in a fatal condition. Guess what? I'm also in a fatal condition. Can you kill me? Romans 5:12 says, sin entered the world and death through sin, and thus death spread to everyone. Does this now mean that we can kill anyone we want simply because they are going to die anyway? Second, one of the real life problems is that in many circumstances, nobody can be sure or certain how fatal a condition is until after birth. This document cites Romans, and Finley makes a comment.
And it talks about how in the book of Romans, a broken world is outlined, where the whole creation groans in pain. There are things that happen in life.
My friends watching this video, please think that through carefully. Finley and this document claim that because the world is in a chaotic, fallen condition, that therefore we need to kill children with malformations or fatal conditions. But this is the key point. Neither Finley nor this document explain how they make that jump from a broken world to justifying the abortion of deformed children. That explanation is not given because it does not exist. This is an argument that we can sin because the world is broken. This is an argument that now that we are out of Eden, we have an excuse to kill children. The difficulty is that Finley is being very slick about this and does not expressly say how this verse justifies abortion. They just say that nature is under futility, but what they are implying is that these deformed fetuses are mistakes of nature and not miracles of God. They are subtly diminishing their value. Now, in this next clip, he says the baby will have fatal condition, but the goal is to save life.
There are times when a baby is in a fatal condition. The goal is always to save life. The goal is always to preserve life.
Oh, really? If the baby is in a fatal condition, then why in the world are we making any exception at all to kill the child? Stop and think about that. If the goal is, as he stated, to save and preserve life, then why would he even suggest abortion for the child with a fatal medical condition? This is, of course, like everything else he says, completely contradictory. He literally says that we need to kill the child if it's dying, but we should try to save the child. Well, what is it? To save or to kill? This makes no sense.
Document does not presuppose in any way that physicians do not have the authority or the ability or the God-given right and mandate to make choices in very critical medical conditions.
There it is, out of his own mouth. Physicians have a what? A God-given mandate, right, and authority to kill children who are sick and dying. There it is, out of his own mouth. Physicians have a what? A God-given mandate, right, and authority to kill children who are sick and dying. My friends, if you need any evidence that Finley has completely abandoned the Bible, that is it. Open, blatant, and in your face. This is the problem in the Adventist Church. Physicians are placed on the level of a deity who have the power over life and death, and it's right there out of Finley. And oh, by the way, did you notice that this was published on Halloween?